Welcome everyone back to my channel. Today with the incredible conductor Franz Welser-Möst, and we have an incredible time, a lot of fun. He's conducting the famous Mahler Fifth, and and I'm really honored to have a bit of time to know a bit more about you and to just a lot interesting questions I have. Well, not a lot, some, a few. We don't have too many time. And we found a great place today. It's quite rainy, but we found a great, wonderful tree, as you see. So hopefully nothing will break with my phone. And first of all, how do you feel in Leipzig?
I love Leipzig. It's such a beautiful city. There's so much history, but there's also enormous life. Many young people. My wife and I were taking a walk yesterday through different parks, and it's you get the atmosphere that there are a lot of open-minded people, and people are very nice and hospitable. Like when you go to a restaurant, we went yesterday to a restaurant here.
Which one?
Muncie, bio, organic food.
Macy's, yeah.
Thank you. Macy's, organic food, and the waiters and everyone around was so welcoming and nice. It's not always like that in every city. We, my wife and I, we feel really extremely well taken care of here.
How is it like? Because right now you said you went to Macy's. Well, the restaurant Macy's, by the way, it's a really nice restaurant, serving a lot, like actually organic food. Everything is local, I think, also all the products. But is there, if you need to choose between different dishes, and of course there are a lot of dishes, but is there any favorite country dish which you really prefer? If you have the opportunity to eat, you go for it.
What I like to try is always when I go to different places in the world to try also some local food.
Okay.
But I very often I just follow the recommendations of the waiters, and I also always like to try out new things.
New things, but still, if you have all the things same time, what is it? What do you choose?
Here?
Wherever.
Leipzig?
No, just imagine you have a huge buffet with different countries. Everything is there. Everything. So, where's the heart going?
Of course, to Austrian food.
Okay.
What else would you expect? Actually, my wife is the best cook of Wiener Schnitzel you can imagine. You get a lot of not so good Wiener Schnitzel in Vienna.
Okay.
But my wife does an incredible Wiener Schnitzel. I fall for that anytime.
Well, if it's possible, next time we're gonna be in Vienna, maybe with you. So maybe she can make one for me.
Okay.
I would love to try.
You have to convince her, not
okay,
me.
No problem. I'll go for it. But now we come for the real first question, because the name of the interview is Head or Heart, and this is the first question: head or heart?
Balance.
Balance.
Of both.
Of both. Okay, let me try to put the question a tiny bit different. If you, for example, with the music, if you read through a new piece, if you work on something, or you see someone, or you see something, how is the order? Is there any order?
When I'm at the receiving end, heart.
Okay.
When I'm at the other end, where I have to learn a piece, first comes the head.
Okay.
Because you have to take it in, you have to know a lot about the piece and the composer, the time when it was written, different historic connections, whatever, as broad as possible to get to know everything. Making, tying the knots between, let's say, as we are playing Mahler's Fifth, between Egon Schiele and Mahler, or Heinrich Heine, and so on and so on. So literature, politics, history,
to understand,
arts, to get the spirit of something. And then Herbert von Karajan had this wonderful saying once. He said, rehearsals are there to work hard. Performances are there to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to the performance, heart definitely has to win.
So let's say the heart is covering the head.
Yes.
You got the heart at the beginning, at the end, and in between you need to work.
Yes.
To
I would say so.
Perfect. What is, I'm sure there are many, but is there any moment in your life when you think backwards of that moment? It can be, of course, music, but I'm more interested in the moment like maybe you went once on a top of a mountain, or you stand once on a boat and fishing. I don't know. Is there any moment which you remember with a really warm heart and you would love to go back to that moment?
Yeah. I had many moments like that, especially as I love hiking. I'm sort of I always say one of my ancestors must have been a mountain goat.
Okay.
I don't know. But the first time I went to the Grand Canyon.
Oh. Okay.
And I never forget that because I went with a friend of mine 30 years ago. And we started hiking down when it was still dark, just getting light.
Really in the morning?
In the morning. We took off, I think, 5:45 or something like that. It was in August.
That's too early for me.
I'm an early bird. I'm in the wrong profession. I would love performances to end at 6 o'clock at night.
Well, but then you never play in Spain.
I know. But what was so moving for me was how the colors changed throughout that hike down. We hiked down like 6 hours or so, and then it got really hot, and hiking back up was tough.
Yeah.
Because it's like walking through an oven. Left and right you have oven tiles. But these changing colors, I had never seen anything like that before or after.
So like the colors, you mean having all the
it started
rocks.
No, the rocks, the nature we looked at. It started sort of dark blue, greenish, and then the colors got warmer and warmer to very bright.
Yeah.
So you had a spectrum of colors, which was just mind-boggling.
This is, by the way, I have a little idea. When you say this, I also remember I had a trip to Australia, and nearly same moments. And I figured out, like, during the day we have the night where everything is kind of black, and we have the day in the middle, like where the sun is really on top. And but the most colors I also figured out are really always in between these two time zones. And I love to connect it with music, because the music I see is kind of the same. We have the super fortissimo, and we have the really pianissimo, but in between there are so many colors.
Yeah,
and
even when you
paint.
talk about dynamics, but you can say the grass is green, but what sort of green?
Yeah.
So a fortissimo can be also light, it can be dark, it can be whatever. So I think the great thing about music and about nature is that you have such an enormous range of different colors, different impressions you get. I love that.
And I find it amazing, especially today, this week, how Mahler, he was able to bring this into the music, and how amazing it is to listen to it, and you really recognize all these different places, colors, whatever, nature.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So thanks for this. Another question is, how do you charge your batteries?
In 1995, I decided that, I started my professional career in 85, and 10 years I lived basically out of a suitcase.
Okay.
And in 95, I decided enough. And since then, I have at least 12 weeks a year where I don't conduct.
And you go hiking?
I go hiking a lot.
This is great.
And I tell you, like where we live, close to Salzburg on a lake called Attersee, on the other side of the lake there are mountains, and very often I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, drive to the other side. Sorry.
At 4 o'clock, I'm sometimes still in the bar, but this is different hiking.
And I'm a country bumpkin, so
Yeah,
you know, you go to sleep with the chicken, and you know, you wake up with the chicken.
Yeah.
And so when I go hiking, after a while, it's like meditation.
Yeah.
It cleanses your worries, your thoughts, whatever, and all because of the physical side of it, you start then to, your creativity comes back.
Yeah.
So I love hiking, but I'm also big into yoga.
Okay.
I started that in 2003 because I had big health issues before then, and I was running from one doctor to the next. I had 3 broken vertebrae, and so for 14 years I had not one single day without pain.
Okay.
And then I found an osteopath, and then it got slowly better. And then once I said to my wife, I don't know. She said, God damn it, you need to do something yourself.
Yeah.
And I said, like what? And she said,
Like yoga.
Try yoga. And so my assistant in Cleveland, I said, find me the best yoga teacher in town.
Yeah.
And since then, I'm doing that, and it helps me a lot.
I believe
and
so.
it's not meditating; it's a kind of physical yoga, and I try to take good care of myself.
It's a bit kind of figuring out also what the body, where, how is it working, whatever.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And also with the, I had actually another question which is already done. It's like, what is your favorite hobby? And I would say it's hiking.
No. My favorite hobby is actually reading books.
Reading. Okay.
I could show you my enormous library, which I have at home. I actually
try to explain what is enormous. So people can imagine a room the size, how high.
It's
full of books.
It's 93 square meters. So, and on 2 floors.
Oh my God.
With a gallery you can walk on.
And full with books.
Yeah, scores and books. I have about between 6,000 and 7,000 scores and about 3,000 books.
Oh my God, I think this is almost a bit like the same amount what Netflix is offering movie-wise. Probably. But this is Netflix in here. Amazing. Wow. Okay, but this is incredible. I never heard it. I just love to see a bibliothek, what is it, library? Often there are, these old libraries when you visit, for example, Lisboa or Barcelona, whatever, and you see these huge libraries with a lot of levels.
When I was a kid, I was always so impressed by these libraries in monasteries.
Yeah.
Where you have a gallery where you can walk on and on 2 floors. And so 9 years ago, I thought,
I want to have
I have to fulfill my own dream.
Yeah, perfect.
And so I built this house. This house is library only.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. I go from our main house, I go to that little house and sit there for hours and read and look at the lake. Not a bad life, I tell you.
Well, it really doesn't sound bad at all. And I imagine if someone will bring you a little coffee, or maybe not a coffee, maybe tea, whatever. Wow. I'd love to have it for once, for a day. Let's try. I love to read actually, but I have a problem because when I start reading, I can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I need to read, and if we have a rehearsal in the morning...
Yeah, sure.
Worse. Well, is there any favorite personality, a person you met, and not specifically someone famous? What I mean is, sometimes you meet people in life, and maybe those people, they told you maybe one sentence which kind of changed a thing in your life, or still is in your brain, or helped you wherever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about famous or celebrities, it's just about that moment where you meet someone and that person made something with you?
Oh, yeah, I remember the moment, in 1974, I was 14. I got into that special Musikgymnasium school where, at the same time you had to learn an instrument at the local conservatory in Linz. And I remember that moment so well when we were sitting in class first day and our music teacher came in. He was a monk. He looked like, a cliche of a monk. He was rather round, had almost no hair left, and a little guy. And he came in with his briefcase, which was really old, and he slammed the briefcase onto the desk and he said, okay, everyone who is not interested, get into the last row, and you get a 4th grade, at the end of the year. Everyone else come to the front. And it was like a light bulb went on. And he got me into conducting because I was leading, like you here, I was leading the second violins in the school orchestra.
We got something in common.
That's
right. Wow, cool.
And he thought that I would have a talent for conducting. So one day, he was always sort of grumpy.
Okay.
And he had a rather rustic language very often, calling us assholes and whatever.
Well, I by the way, I love it because this is straight.
Yeah,
but this is something what today is not happening anymore. And I love it actually because it's straight. My mom, she always used to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, better you go into a little fight, you stay a bit rough, whatever, but afterwards you have a nice beer together.
Yes.
And everything's perfect instead of politically correct.
And he one day he said, you take over the rehearsal tomorrow. I was like, it was a Mozart divertimento, I remember. So the next day, the same day I went to the music shop, bought myself a score and a stick, and the next day I stood in front of my colleagues and was waving my arms, and to my surprise they actually played. And he was pretending that he didn't have time. Mm-hmm. But then at the end of that rehearsal, he snuck in the back, watching me what I was doing. And he had one fantastic line, which I think every conductor should take to his heart. He said, conducting starts with pulling up chairs. And what he meant was, you shouldn't be arrogant or feel too good for doing, moving a chair or doing this basic work. Yeah. What he meant also was, when you want to conduct, you have to know everything. Yeah. I was with that youth orchestra, which I conducted down there. I was my own stagehand. I was pulling up chairs, putting the music stands there, handing out the music, and so on and so on. And I think that's a very good training. It's not like, I wave a stick in the air and I'm a maestro. No, that's bullshit.
It's interesting. It's really, really great, because what I think is today, if you watch Silicon Valley, which is super famous for the companies being successful and a lot of money over there, this is the philosophy in general. What I also like is, if you want to become a leading person, you kind of actually need to be also daddy. You need to be someone who comes from...
Leading means that you know how to serve.
Exactly.
And that's why in Italy the waiters, they are kings, because they know how to serve and they also know all the shit. So I think it's something which I really took to my heart. Don't try to.
But it sounds great, and this is exactly, I think, I'm speaking for everyone, exactly how we feel, that there is just this simple same level working without anything. So
I always say I can't play the violin as well as you do, or I can't play the oboe, I can't play timpani. which means I have to have respect for that person which can do it on that level. And it all starts with respect, and music has to do with
A lot.
taking and giving.
Yeah.
So it's and I think the first step to make great music is respect for each other.
Like everywhere, actually.
Yep.
Wow, this is a great moment. I just, when you said, the moment you said you had this moment with the teacher, I had just a simple example. Also one moment which really stayed in my mind. First lesson with my philosophy teacher. And the funny thing is, he was kind of same shape, but he had a huge red nose. And of course we had our thoughts why he had the red nose. And the first question was, tell me, what is a leaf? That was the beginning of the first class. And of course people just said it's green, whatever, but the idea was way deeper. So that made me remember that moment. What is the I know that you have brothers, sisters, and there is just a simple, interesting question. For sure you had fights, like all the brothers and sisters, and I'm just curious, what kind of fights, what for was it, or still maybe you have them?
I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and we're all within 3 years and 11 months to the day. I have a twin sister, we are at the end. But my second brother, who is 3 years older, he was a very wild child. And he was very aggressive. He's now, by the way, a fantastic teacher, the most patient person you can imagine in the world. But when he was young, during childhood, he was wild. I always say he beat me through primary school. I would come home from school and bumps, he would go. he would beat me up, and all the other siblings as well. I remember so well, he would run after one of us and just scream, "I'm going to kill you!" And we had a very lively childhood.
This is so healthy. I have no sisters, no brothers, and I'm getting more and more jealous, by the way, for all of these people, like they have brothers, sisters.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful thing when you have to fight your way into this world. Exactly. And siblings are a wonderful way to do that.
Yeah. The only way I did it, I was, let's say, because I was born in Russia, and my parents, it's a kind of cocktail, actually, let's say so. But I grew up with Russians around me, Russian kids, and there I had a best friend, and once a week we just fought.
Yeah.
I had my nose bleeding, everything, but my parents, they were cool. They said, "You had a fight again? How was it? Who won? There you got some tissues, go for it." And I loved it because I find this is necessary to figure out what are the borders, which is so important for later on, for the social being.
I agree. Yeah.
Great. The other question is, what would you love to do if it's not conducting? If you kind of need to choose, I hope this is not, because once I know you played the violin and then you switched to conducting. But imagine you need to switch again, which is not music. What would it be?
You know what? I think that might surprise some people. This is very spontaneous now.
Okay.
Banking.
Oh.
No. It somehow in the last couple of years I got fascinated by that world. Not that I ever could do it, but I actually, the bank where I have my money, and the banker there who takes care of my assets, he writes poems. He's a sort of totally untypical banker, you would imagine. And he actually, I'm with him now for the last 9 years or so. he really got me interested in that. Before I was, oh God, I don't want to talk about money and all this. But he has so much fun doing it, and he does it with such a light heart that I got interested in that.
But this is incredible, because I did this on purpose, because every single job has a specific, let's say, outside image.
Yeah.
And often these images, they are wrong. I don't like this. And I think when people think about bankers or banking, they have this in mind, you know, that they do money. And I think this is completely not right. And so,
you know, the famous violinist Jascha Heifetz, he once said, with bankers you can talk about music, with musicians only about money. So maybe there's something to it.
This actually brings it to the point what I wanted to say in 5 sentences. It's great. Thanks a lot for shortening my blah 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 blah. So the hobby we have already, and now we come to a little question which I love to ask is: imagine you are God. You got all the possibilities to change whatever you want, and we are talking about the world. And we know there are a lot of problems, specifically nature-wise, but if you had the chance and all the opportunities, what would you do? What would you change to make the world better, into a better direction going?
I would love to give every child a great education.
Yeah.
Because, you know, being in Cleveland now already for 19 years, I've seen certain kids, if they would get a great education, their lives would be so much better. And you know, when you part-time, when you live in America, this is an enormously diverse society. You get the richest people in the world, you get the poorest people in the world, and I've seen, and I get extremely touched by that. There was once we played a concert in a high school, in the gymnasium there, and a very difficult audience, you know, age 12 to 16.
Okay.
And 98% of them were African Americans from really terrible backgrounds.
Yeah.
And we played parts of Rite of Spring, and the most difficult audience I ever had to perform to.
Okay.
And at the end of it, there came this little boy, and he just stood in front of me and said, "Where can I learn the violin?" I was crying.
Okay.
And I felt, oh my God, you know, and we gave him a violin, and he learns the violin now, and that has improved his life.
Yeah.
To such a big extent. So I would love to give every kid a great education.
This is a very deep answer as well, because we know, everyone knows that if you're educated, a lot of things got different.
Yeah.
Also politically and life, social, everything.
Yes.
So great. Another question is, when tomorrow? I love this question. It's kind of a Hollywood question. When the world gonna disappear tomorrow, what is it you need to do today? A thing which you need to do, a thing maybe of your dreams, something you need to do before you say,
one last time to tell the people I love that I love them. That's all.
simple and great. And the last question, and this is the question which I love, and it's important for all the followers, for all the coming up musicians specifically, because they are standing there practicing, and often they are lost, and there are different species also. But my question is, what advice would you like to give all of these coming up musicians, how to become a better, or maybe a more honest, better musician, and what to do? Of course, practicing, we know you need to do, but I believe there are things which are deeper, more important than just practicing.
Keep searching. You know, I always tell young musicians, It's really difficult to make a great career, but much more difficult is actually to keep searching, which means the day I stop learning, I might be still physically alive, but in my view, as a human being, you're dead.
Yeah.
And you know, if you keep searching, you keep evolving and you keep growing. And that's actually also what makes this profession so great. You play a great Beethoven concerto at the age of 20, let's say. The Beethoven concerto is still great when you're 50 and when you're 70.
And you're going to play it different, hopefully.
Exactly. And so to keep searching for, there's always more. I mean, that's the most exciting news in our profession, that there's always more. You're never reaching an end point. And so, you know, we play Mahler 5. Next time we might do it together, it will be different again.
Well, hopefully, I used to say, but this to keep searching, to keep on searching means also you need to keep this curiosity in a certain way, because if you lose this because of mechanic everyday living, then it's gone. I mean, then you will stop searching immediately. And
there's good routine and there's bad routine.
Yeah.
Let's not go into bad routines.
Well, I used to say the good routine in playing an instrument is just the technical routine, which you have actually just for the reason to make music, to make all your wish, your dream, the hard things, whatever.
Yeah. But you know, I mean, in general, people always say, you know, how to be happy in life. I think it's about being grateful for what you have and what is out there, what still can be discovered. You know, you can walk through a park you have been walking through many times, and yet every single time you can discover something new. When I walk in our garden at home, and I'm just filled with joy when I see today this flower opened and whatnot, and it's the little things which make life really great.
And a huge difference in general.
Yes.
Well, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for these amazing answers, to know you a bit better. I really appreciate it. I appreciate this guy as a person, conductor, musician, everything. And blessed to meet you, blessed to work with you, and hopefully to meet you soon back again, either here or wherever, on whatever stage.
And then we talk again about schnitzel.
And then no, I will talk with your wife. Because she's the big boss, I feel.
Yes, that's right.
Take care, think about this, and see you soon. Bye-bye.